Welcome to this read and lead series of videos. Today we are talking about 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. You are what you habitually do. So you can adopt productive habits and become effective. That's the main summary of the book. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen R. Covey. I am Anil Kumar here and we are talking about this book in the read and lead series. The message of the book is that you have the ability to improve your habits and thereby improve your life. You are what you habitually do, so adopt productive habits and then you have the ability to improve your habits and so improve your life. You can focus on developing a character and not the personality. You should focus on developing a character, not the personality. You should choose sound principles like integrity, dignity, equality, etc. so that your life will be effective when you adopt these habits and principles. First habit is be proactive, then begin with the end in mind, put first things first, think win-win, seek first to understand, then to be understood, synergize and sharpen the saw. Basically, you are free because you can determine how you want to respond to your circumstances. So be proactive, take the initiative and decide accordingly. When you have a stimulus, take time to respond. Write a personal mission statement to clarify your principles, to set your goals, to cast your ideas. Balance the attention that you give to each of your roles and responsibilities and relationships. Multiply your allies, not your enemies. Communication and trust are a two-way street. And when we say synergize, what we mean is we have to cooperate and ensure that the whole is greater than sum of the individual parts. And by sharpen the saw, we mean take time to ensure your tools are having their production capacity. Be it your heart, be it your soul, be it your mind, be it your body. So the leaders with 7 habits will take the initiative, will focus on the goals, will set priorities, will win only when others also win, will communicate well, will cooperate and will reflect on it and repair their deficiencies. So one has to focus on developing the character. One should not be focusing on just the personality. Developing a sound character is more important because it is more productive, because it is more effective. Forcing yourself to display a better personality is sometimes a problem because if it is inconsistent with your character, then it is like wearing a mask. Your character is what your habits bring out. Personality can emerge naturally when your character is rooted in and formed by positive principles. So if your behavior is based on good principles, automatically the personality will become better. Why? Because your character would have become better. So one should be focusing on what principles you are basing your habits so that you have a better character and you have a better personality. No point in being deceptive, manipulative, or just building a personality because ultimately they might prove destructive. Until we take time to see what we are, until we see ourselves the way we are, until we see the way others see us, we will not be able to understand how others see the world and how others feel about themselves. So we need to see how we see ourselves, how others see ourselves, and then only we will be able to see how others see themselves. To develop a sound character, you need a solid way of looking at things. That means a paradigm shift. That means a character or a habit based on principles. Choose sound principles and live by them. What are the sound principles? Integrity, dignity, quality of service, patience, and things like that. In choosing a response to the circumstance, we powerfully affect our circumstance. In choosing a response to the circumstance, we powerfully affect our circumstance. This is broken is an objective statement, but it is too bad is a subjective statement. You don't have to color it, paint it the way according to your culture and background. You can change. That means you can change your character. That means you can change your habit. That means you can build your small mini atomic habits in everything that you do from this moment onwards. Your habit is what you do consistently, you do unconsciously, you do regularly, you do automatically. That is what your habit is. So what we should be doing? We should be abandoning the determinism and accept the paradigm shift of freedom. What is determinism? Determinism is belief that maybe our genetic makeup, maybe our parentage, maybe the way we are brought in, maybe the society or our community background, all this have permanently weakened our chance of success. If you believe so, your race, your color, your culture, your parentage, the way you have been brought up, the school that you went to, if these have weakened your chances of success and you are irrevocably, irremediably fallen into a deep pit, and if you think your education and your experience will not help you and the environment is not conducive for your success, that means you are having a tie down effect onto your deterministic paradigm. You have to abandon that and you have to go to the paradigm of freedom. What is that? The basic principles and values that you choose to decide that you have an option to live the way you want when a stimulus affects you before you respond. You have that option, you have that right, you have that freedom. And what are the principles that you will choose? Fairness, equity, integrity, honesty, dignity and self-worth, excellence, spirit of service, patience, perseverance, nurturing, caring, courage and encouragement, quality, dignity and can-do attitude. These are some of the principles that you can adopt and you should live by them. When this happens, when something happens to you, the way you respond will be based on these principles. So accordingly, you will display better habit that will come out in the form of character. That will not only make your personality shine, but it will show you as a changed person to the world. You will have the right and an opportunity to exercise the freedom of choice. Only a person with these basic classic principles in their life can inspire or help others. Unless you are able to inspire, the team will not stand by you. Unless you are willing to help, people will not be having respect or trust on you. So these are the basic principles that one need to choose. When you master your interior self, when you are aware of yourself and you control your inner self, then you will master what is outside you. So the inner freedom will take you to outer freedom, the personal freedom will take you to public freedom. So we are what we habitually do. Our habits turn into characters. That character is nothing but a polished personality. So we need to know. How do we know? By understanding what we want and why we want and why we want to do so, a particular thing. We need to develop the skills. What skills? To become able to do what we want to do. And then we need to have desire. That's a determined, devoted, dedicated effort that we put in so that what we want, we will do it. The will to do it. That is what it is. So character is a habit, excellence is a habit. To have habits, we need to know what we want, we need to develop the skills to do what we want. Once we know why we want it, and then we should have the desire, that is the will to do it. People concentrate or look for the production, the output, the measurables. They monitor only what is measurable. The difference that it makes, the visible thing, that's the outside thing. And people neglect the capacity or the inner thing that brings out this output. What we need to build is a character based on principles so that our outcome, our actions, our efforts automatically come out as something good. Production capability, production capacity is what we should look at and not just the produced output. Again, our action, our decision should all be based on the basic principles that we saw, like fairness, equity, integrity, honesty, caring, courage, dignity, etc. How proactive people operate? Proactive people operate in the realm of possibilities. They look at positivity. They will not say, no, I can't do anything. They will not say, it's not just me. They will not say, he drives me up the hall. They will not say, I can't or I have to. They will always say, I decide, I choose, I am willing, I want, I can change, I can do, I want to do, I will do. Expand the realm by choosing how to act and react. See what you can do and then do it. Take responsibility for getting it done. Be responsible to how you feel when you face something, how you want to face it or act and react on it, and then what you will do about it. Choose proactively, take the initiative to decide what you need to do, why you need to do, and how you will do it based on the basic core principles and values. So the habit one is to be proactive. Proactive means take the initiative proactively, be limitless, decide on what the habits and behaviors are to be displayed, be free to choose the character that you want, do not get abused by the circumstance, choose to not just react, live by the principles, most importantly, again and again, live by the principles, be accountable, be responsible, begin with the end in mind, design a creed, draft a personal mission statement. You are free because you determine how you want to respond to the circumstances. Be proactive, take the initiative. What is the next habit? It is begin with the end in mind. We have seen the first habit, it ends with draft a personal statement, begin with the end in mind. What is that second habit? Many people spend a lifetime pursuing a goal that is meaningless, unsatisfying or destructive. After you reach the top of the ladder, you will find the ladder is leaning against the wrong wall. You earn a lot of money, but then by the time you are ready to spend that money on your spouse, your relationship would have gone for a toss. Effectiveness is not just a matter of reaching a goal, but rather achieving the right goal. So you need to be not just efficient by reaching the top of the ladder, but effective by ensuring the ladder is leaning on the right wall. Take hold of or take control of your life. See yourself as you really are. Make the right changes. Make and keep commitment. Go towards your core objectives. Clarify your principles. Clarify your goals. Clarify your objectives. Record it. Cast it in your mind in such a fashion that every time that you do everything that you do, you remember these core principles. Think carefully and decide. Describe the person you want to be, and then you will know what are your core principles. Focus. Prioritize. Do you like what you hear at your funeral about the way you lived? If not, what changes you want to make? That is what we will decide on, or that is what talks about begin with the end in mind. Where you want to be, that you need to know. The third habit is to put things first. First things first. You have the power to change who you are, but that means changing the way you act. That means changing your habits. That means changing your character. That means displaying a different personality. That means a paradigm shift. That means using the freedom to choose how you want to respond when a stimulus hits you. Do not waste life by putting off fires and fighting the emergencies. You need to know the difference between what is important and what is urgent. Handle all that is important before they become urgent, before they distract you. Urgent is easy to see. Important is very difficult to discern. The cramped schedule is not the way. Adequate time or resource should be spent on what really matters. Don't draw Peter to pay Paul. Never let your most important priorities fall victim to the least important things that you would like to do. So how do we ensure this? Putting first things first. Emphasize planning, avoid pitfalls, develop relationships, and cultivate opportunities for getting adequate recreation, so that your body and mind is ready to. By putting first things first, you are putting your body and mind ready so that you will have the production capacity to produce output. What is the output that you want? A better relationship with the family, a better team, a better outcome or an effective result in the organization. We need to give each role an appropriate time bucket, periodically, regularly. We need to allot time. Be you are a leader, a manager, a spouse, a parent, a kith or kin, you need to allot proper time for each of these roles. Put first things first, decide what is important, and then based on the second, begin with the end in mind, proactively decide what is your end that you want, and then accordingly allot your time and resources. Fourth habit is the win-win. You all have to win together. If we strive for win-win transaction, then it will be profitable for everyone. Everyone will have a nice feeling. People will be willing to cooperate. People will know everybody will get a piece of cake. A win-lose relationship creates a victor and a victim. It leaves somebody injured, unhappy. So this will create animosity. This feeling of defeat or hostility should be avoided. We have to make allies and not opponents. We should make friends. So we need to exercise the interpersonal leadership capacity to make all the parties win the game fairly. Everyone is a little better off, and that is far better than one person being far better off. If you produce losers, it will destroy the relationship, it will create enemies, it will spread hatred, and then it will hinder your progress. Habit 5 is seek first to understand and then to be understood. Understanding is very important. Communication and trust are two-way street. Unless you have communication, you will not have trust. Unless you have trust, you cannot get anything done. You will not be understood. If you have trust, even without seeing, the person will understand. Think effectiveness with people and efficiency with things. You don't count how many minutes you spent with your spouse or your team. It is not the efficiency of the things. It is effectiveness. Whether it was a quality time, whether the conversation was deep enough. Quality in communication is important, not the quantity of time spent and the hours of words spent. Write out the case from the opponent's point of view. Think what the other person is thinking. Understand and appreciate the needs and wants of the other person. Why they desire in such a fashion. What are they choosing? And then you should change your objective. First you need to understand what is their objective. Find out what they want, what meaning means to them, what matters to them and why. For this we need to listen. Listen with empathy. Active listening. Ask questions. Observe the non-verbal cues. Don't please assume or presume. Let them speak first. Let them speak first. Think and analyze well before you respond. Don't spell out your views and your requirements and your objectives first. Put yourself in their shoes when you listen. Put yourself in their shoes when you speak. When you listen, you will understand from their point of view. When you speak, you will understand what they will understand from your words. Most people do not listen with intent to understand. They normally listen with an intent to reply. They rehearse their answers, and that is not the right way. Active listening is what is required. Find out the what, find out the whys, and then you act. The sixth habit is to synergize. Synergize means cooperate, coordinate, collaborate, communicate. Cooperate, coordinate, collaborate, communicate. Don't just compete. Don't listen, reflect, and respond, but instead hear and react reflexively. What does this mean? If you do this, then you are not having synergy. You will have synergy. You will have synergy if you do not react reflexively. You will have synergy if you react reflexively. Being cooperative is better because it is greater than the sum of individual parts. Creative cooperation means it will yield a force that is greater. For example, two pillars will hold an X amount of weight. When the pillar is in the form of an arch, it will yield more than that. That is what is cooperation is from an engineering sense. It will hold a greater weight. What do we mean? Bringing together a whole which is greater than the sum is the synergy. Bringing together of a whole which is greater than the sum is the synergy. Behave as per the well thought of plan. The action plan you take should be the well thought of one. It should be as per your basic core values, and it should be after you have made an empathetic listening, not a defensive or an authoritative response. So listen, reflect, and then respond. Listen, reflect, and then respond. Don't react reflexively. If you react reflexively, you will be a failure and not an efficient and effective person. The seventh habit is to sharpen the saw. Ensure endurance and flexibility and strength is there for your body and mind, brain and soul. Ensure endurance, flexibility and strength is there for your body and mind, brain and soul. Keep your heart in good working condition. How do we do this? By sharpening the saw. Don't be too busy sawing. Take a break to sharpen the saw. Else the more you saw, the less you cut. If you do not sharpen the saw, the more you saw, the less you cut. So don't be too busy sawing. Take a break to sharpen the saw. Ensure endurance, flexibility and strength for your heart and brain and soul and body and mind. Because these are the things that gives you the production capacity. These are the ones that gives you the capability to be an effective person. The character that you display is the personality that you show to the world is what people will measure. People can monitor. But that comes from the habits. That comes from the character. That will come from the principles. And for that to come out, you need to have an active brain and an active body. Whatever you are made up of, all the parts require a periodic overhaul and repair. Don't kill the goose focusing on the golden eggs alone. Take a break, maybe a 5-minute break every hour, maybe a vacation on an exotic island. But then it is necessary to renew your body, mind, soul and heart. Refresh, rejuvenate, rest, relax. Only then your mental, intellectual, emotional, psychological faculties will be ready to work and the physical body will be willing to exert the efforts. Listen and relearn the tricks of the trade. Learn and relearn the tricks of the trade. Catch up with the state of art happenings in the industry. Learn the latest developments. Go for continuous professional education. Whatever you do, you need to sharpen the saw. Otherwise, in spite of all the habits, in spite of all the good behaviors, you will not be effective enough. So take the initiative, focus on the goals, set priorities, win only when others also win, communicate well, understand, cooperate, and reflect on and repair the deficiencies. These are the habits that you need to have to be highly effective. Thanks for watching this video on Read and Lead series. Anil Kumar here. You were listening to Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey.